It's on.
It is.
All right, good. Good morning, Wellness Way Culture. Dr. Jeremy Maxwell.
And Dr. James.
And this is J Squared Live. And I couldn't be more excited today. I honestly have been really pumped up about this show today for 2 weeks at least. And we got a special guest with us today. And I will be watching to see when she pops on. So I almost said Clarice. Heidi.
Yep.
That's a bad faux pas almost. So I was going to have Heidi watch, but I see that she's already on. So Charity, I will patch you through here shortly as we introduce the show. But you guys who are joining us today, we do have a special guest, and she will be sharing her story from a mother's perspective on what all has changed in her son who has autism. And as you guys saw in the caption, you know, I'm always trying to make them catchy and catch your attention. You know, of course you would never hear us say that food allergies have nothing to do with autism, but there are some that believe that, and we're going to let her share that story because I don't want to steal any of her thunder on that. But just to kind of bring you guys up to speed with where we're at, Doc, how are things going with the contest for the meal, preparation?
Things are going really well. Everybody's sharing and everybody's commenting. So again, looking at the numbers though, I think there's still a few people out there that may just be sharing and not doing the ticket emoji. So again, if you are sharing and you're wanting to be in the contest, again, give us that ticket emoji so I know to count you.
That's right.
Because again, stat-wise, I thought it would tell me who all shared it, but I don't get a report, so I need you to give me that feedback so I can count your entry.
That's right. Something funky with the privacy settings of everybody throws that off. So that's why the ticket emoji helps Dr. James out in tracking that. So it has been really fun to see.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. She just got hers in.
There you go. If you were wondering what the ticket emoji looks like, we can always count on Lisa. So, yeah, it's been great seeing you guys' engagement. We love it. It gives us great feedback. But more importantly, we really need you guys to share this stuff because this is how we get that message out of the hashtag I disagree or the different perspective on Saturday or think differently Thursday. I mean, all these things to help give you guys the tools that you need to really begin to challenge the way you've always thought about your health and what you do to regain it. Because we're inundated every day with just a bunch of nonsense. And, you know, we've always just done things a certain way. And our biggest thing is trying to help you distinguish the difference between, you know, looking for help with a carpenter or a firefighter. And when it comes to that analogy, you know, the firefighters being the medical doctors, us being the carpenters, you know, there's a time and a place. We understand that with emergencies and things needing to be cut out. We are not the people to call. When it comes to rebuilding and structurally assessing how good is your house, we're the people to call. And we're trying to get you guys engaged in a way that gets you thinking ahead and more long-term, right?
Absolutely.
Because we see too many people at the end of their life really struggle because they've really done nothing to invest in that. But not to get off on a rabbit hole here because very special young lady I want to bring on. This is my cousin, Charity from California. And I am going to go ahead and invite her to join us.
She is.
So when she gets on here, you guys just give us a thumbs up and let us know that you can hear everything all right. Yesterday took a little time. There we go. Here we go. All right. Can you hear us, Charity?
I can.
Oh, maybe up your volume. I can't hear you. Can you hear Heidi?
Does that work? Can you hear me?
All right, look at your volume settings maybe on your phone, or try plugging in your headphones and we'll see if we can hear you better.
Okay. 1 second.
You guys bear with us as we
Okay.
get this going here. We'll be all right.
Can you hear me? Is that better? Is that better?
Test.
No? Test.
Check your phone. Does it matter if your phone volumes?
That's all the way up too. How about now?
Okay, you can hear? All right. I just
Better?
can't hear her for some reason on my phone.
Oh no.
Hey, all right, let
Hi,
me get
can you hear me?
these long enough here, and then we'll be ready to roll.
Okay.
Now I can hear. I can hear them through this. We have such a patient
Now,
audience.
now am I too loud?
I'm going to turn this down a little bit.
Okay.
All right, man, we are money. So everybody can hear us, gives us a thumbs up. I think Luda did. Yep, we're good. So, all right, let me get this to where I'm not. Okay, so interesting story here. Obviously, I've known Charity for a really, really long time. We are cousins. We spent some time growing up together in Southern California a long time ago. So I was excited. I know that you've kind of been following the Wellness Way for a little bit now. And obviously, I'll just let you kind of tell your story because you have 4 kids, right? Or 3 kids that all graduated and left the house. And now you have 4 more?
5 more.
5
4.
more.
Yeah, 5. Yeah, 5 more right now. 4 are adopted.
4. Yes.
4 adopted.
Okay.
Yes.
So, yeah, I will let you tell your story of Michael. Just to bring you guys up to speed, Michael was 6 years old when he was tested. So this right here, he had 15 food allergies. So I'm going to run through these and then I'm going to let you take over. So he had
Okay.
almond. He was allergic to almond, beef, coconut, crab, eggs, ginger, grapefruit, lobster, cow's milk, orange, peanuts, pork, sesame, tuna, and wheat.
It's a lot.
And you were telling me last night, who thought you were crazy when you said this is the
Everybody.
direction you were going to go?
Everybody. So I can give you just a little bit of a background. Michael came to us through foster care when he was a little over 2 years old. We didn't finalize his adoption until he was 5. So we were really limited on the types of natural ways we could go about treating some of his symptoms.
Right.
But when Michael first came to us, again, he was just over 2 years old, and when immediately we knew something was up. He made no facial expressions whatsoever, no smiles, no cries, no laughing, no sadness, you name it. It was pretty stoic. And when we had his first developmental evaluation done, the evaluator said that cognitively he was of a 6-month-old. And which was really concerning to us. And she said, you want to be prepared because most likely he will not be verbal. He probably will live with you the rest of his life. He's going to be very low functioning. But Sean and I refused to hear that. But in the interim of all that, I started reading every book I could, researching everything I could about Michael. And fast forward a few years, we've had multiple diagnoses for him. And so to date, his diagnoses are autism spectrum disorder level 3, which is the highest level, intellectual disability, fetal alcohol syndrome disorder, ADHD, and PANDAS. Those are all his diagnoses. And as we got each of those diagnoses, it wasn't so much that I needed the diagnosis. I just wanted to figure out how to help him
Yes.
communicate and to me, those diagnoses don't mean anything to me. I just need resources to help him. So through all this, we were doing physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and then something that most kids with autism have, what's called ABA therapy. And it's applied behavioral analysis therapy. And basically they come in your home and teach them how to function, how neurotypical children would already know, like how to brush their teeth, how to, toilet train them, stuff like that. And so we would do 20 hours of that a week. And on top of all the other therapies.
Wow.
And as time progressed, we were seeing little little progress with him here and there. But still his emotions, like it's like he wasn't there. It was a pretty fairly easy kiddo, but our biggest concerns with him were that he had no fear of dangerous things. He would elope, he would touch hot stoves, he would jump off high things. It didn't occur to him that that stuff was dangerous. So we decided to go ahead and put him on medication at 4. And he was put on 2 medications. Both of them kind of help with things like just being able to control, like what is the word? My mind's not working right now. But he just not able to. The word has totally slipped my mind. Sorry. Like he just can't not control what he needs to do. So like most kids I would say that's hot. Well, he wants to touch it to make sure, like, because he doesn't understand what that means. So we started him on those medications for that and for the running. They even had a code for him at school because he would just run. And so we were kind of getting to our wits' end of what to do. So probably about just almost a year prior to doing his food testing, I decided I'm going to cut out gluten and I'm going to cut out sugar. Mm-hmm. And we cut out both of those things, and we started seeing just a big difference in just overall health. He was sick all the time. He's had scarlet fever 4 times. Just ear infections, strep throat like crazy, just everything. So on tons of antibiotics. And being a kiddo who's exposed to drugs and alcohol in utero, it affects your brain. It affects the chemical makeup of his brain already. So to get more antibiotics and more drugs in his system, I just really felt like it was not doing him any help at all. Right. So fast forward.
To already have a compromised system,
Yeah.
Any other little stressor would have just massively pushed him over the edge.
Yeah, he had a constant cold. From the time we got him until we started cutting out sugar and gluten, he had a constant cold, always a cold. So once we got him tested, I could not believe his allergens, because all of the foods that were his favorite foods were his allergens. So like pork, he ate a ton of pork. He ate a ton of beef, peanuts, eggs. He ate eggs probably 4 times a week. So a lot of the foods he was getting were things that were triggering him. So we decided to cut it out cold turkey, which made a very miserable couple weeks. He pretty much lived on bananas for those 2 weeks. And but once we kind of got things out of his system, we started gradually just seeing Michael start to communicate better, where a lot of kids with autism are not social, and they will spend hours by themselves playing. And that's what Michael would do. He'd play in his room with his cars, lining them up, relining them up, lining them up, relining them up, watching wheels spin, things like that, hours and hours and hours. And unless I went in there or somebody went in there to interact with him, he had no desire to interact with anybody. And there were times when I was tempted there were times I'd even say, just, you can have it tonight. It's okay. Mommy's too tired to cook what you need to eat. And he would say, no, Mommy, I'm allergic. I can't have it. And which is huge that he's just even articulating that. Mm-hmm. So now we see a totally different kid. Michael interacts socially. He makes I would say he makes eye contact 90% of the time, which before it was maybe 15, 20% of the time. That's awesome. He is interacting socially with peers at school. He will come in and try to tell you a joke. He's giggling more. He's crying when he's sad. Just things that we never, ever, I'm going to try not to cry.
All right.
He's a different kid, and we can see light in his eyes now, and he's just able to, I don't know, he never wanted to be cuddled or touched. He wants to be held all the time and loved on. And it's just really cool to see. As a matter of fact, just his about 3 weeks ago, we had his, we have a 3-month checkup with his developmental psychologist every 3 months. And she commented just the way he was sitting and listening and answering her questions. And she says, what are you doing that's different? What has changed with him? And I told her, I said, remember how you told me not to check his foods, that would not make a difference? Well, we did, and we've eliminated all of those foods out of his diet. And she was dumbfounded. She could not believe the progress. And she said, well, if you're ready, then our next 3-month appointment, we'll start eliminating some of his medications and see how he does, because he's totally changed. So everybody, we're seeing a lot of people are seeing the change in him, and they keep saying, what are you doing? Is he on a new medication? Is he in a new therapy? I'm like, nope, I just stopped giving him the foods that are not good for his body.
Yeah.
So it's really.
So let me interrupt you just for a second
Okay.
here, because this is where I really want people watching and who will watch going forward to really make the connection. Do you see what the first question people are asking you? They see a difference. They see an improvement. And what's the first thing they ask? What's the medication you're on now?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's where we're at as a society, that we're like, we've just been so conditioned to think that his only progress must be because medicine has somehow created some magical chemical that is going to make him behave, instead of thinking, what can we begin to eliminate? Are there other things that have pushed our bodies out of this normal design? I mean, it doesn't make mistakes, but his body had an unbelievably stressed out environment that pushed his body beyond the limits. Like, it knows how to adapt, but it adapted in a way to save his life. And in that caused a great deal of, mental disturbances, neurotransmitter disturbances, behavioral disturbances, not because he was a bad kid. It's because his circuitry and all the chemistry had poor communication ability due to inflammation. I mean, that's like, I don't understand why people think there has to be some complicated process. There's a complicated process in his body for sure, but look what you did with hard work. I mean, like I said, even though it was 15 foods and being a mother of all these children, and I know you're a fighter, just, that got passed down from your mother, I know. So so to be able to just watch eliminating 15 foods, it still blows my mind that people will still argue with you to the grave that it can't be that you took away the foods. And here, this kid has hope again. And that's why we do these shows. That's why we do what we do, because we've got to get this message out. It's like, I don't ask people to share these videos because we want to have great social media stats. It's like, I don't know any other way to help everybody know on a massive scale that what the Wellness Way is doing is completely different than anybody else. So that's it. I just wanted to try to get that message out there.
And I wish that we would have seen this years ago, because I can't imagine what the progress that he would be at now. But, it's just really cool to see. He hasn't eloped or run away since school started, not once. It's cool. And he is able, like you said, his body was so, it was like in so much turmoil internally. He just did not, his body, he did not know how to regulate himself. Well, now he still can get dysregulated, but he can tell me. Yes. He can say, Mom, I need to crash, or Mom, I need some type of, like, I can tell with certain actions he's doing that he needs some vestibular input or something like that. And that's what's cool, is now he knows he can feel the difference and tell me, when before he couldn't articulate it because there was so much junk in his system. So it's really cool.
Yeah. What was, when we were talking last night trying to get this all set up, remind me again of the bus driver story?
Yes, so Michael loves riding the bus, and this year he hasn't ridden the bus as much because I have more kids going to school that are younger, so I didn't want the younger ones on the bus. But anyways, I let him ride the bus 2 days a week in the afternoons, and his normal bus driver last year wasn't available until this last Friday. And as soon as I got to the bus, he asked me, he goes, "What is going on with Michael?" And I'm like, uh-oh, what does that mean? He goes, "No, he is a different
What's he
kid.
doing
Like
now?
yeah, what's he doing? What's he throwing?" He says he's a totally different kid. He is telling me stories. He's asking me questions. He says, "I keep leaning over in the bus to listen more to what he's saying because I'm just amazed at the progress." And he again asked, "What'd you do?" And I'm like, "I just stopped giving him foods he's allergic to." And he just couldn't believe it. Like it just night and day. He says he is a totally different kid. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
And, obviously another unique thing about the Wellness Way is we take into consideration the uniqueness of each body, because I know there's going to be people that are going to watch this today and they're going to call up and they'll be like, "I want to get my kid who has autism tested," and they're going to get off the foods and they may not see the same drastic and immediate changes. And that's because everything is so different. We're just getting started with him from the perspective of getting rid of inflammation. And that's really why I think so many of these kids really start to see a change, is because it's literally slamming on the brakes and putting a halt to that massive amount of inflammation that these 15 foods that he was literally eating every day were creating a storm in his body. And it's not just that he's eliminating them, you're making sure that he's really working on his digestion, getting plenty of stomach acid, and doing your best to eliminate as many other toxins as possible in his body. Because we know, being a resident of California, that is virtually probably the toughest battle out of any state.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So I'm just thrilled to death to see and hear of his progress. It was kind of fun catching him on the video last night as we were kind of testing this out. And I wanted to bring you on here just to hear the story, but to give hope to so many other families that are in your place, that are living your story, and are literally throwing their hands up because they've tried everything in the medical field. And I just can't stress it enough how important it is that people know that it's not so much, you got to go the natural way. Again, you figured out at least 15 things that stressed Michael's body out. There may be some other things that we'll find out with a stool test, or, for some we do heavy metal testing. Whatever the case is, all we're investigating is what needs to come out of the body. And yeah, we support it with supplements from time to time when they're necessary, but if we can go without, that's certainly the route we're going to go. But this day and age, it's virtually impossible to completely avoid so many of these toxins just because of the way the food's changed, because of the pesticides, the Roundups, you name it. I mean, we're around it all the time. So if we can help people begin to eliminate those things and regain some sanity, I can't imagine just the level of more peace around your house having Michael just be able to now communicate. Hey, this is what I'm feeling. This is what's going on, instead of throwing stuff and acting out and, knowing that's his way of communicating of what's going on. So,
And his sleep has gotten much better. Typically he would sleep only 4 to 6 hours a night. That's it. And it was interrupted. But since then, he will still wake up once a night, but he's only awake for about half an hour and he falls back to sleep. And that's huge too. If you're not sleeping, you're going to have behaviors and all kinds of issues too. So,
well,
yeah.
Here's to the next 3-month checkup where more chemicals are coming out of his body.
Yes.
Very exciting. So, anything else you'd like to add?
I am a busy mom of 8, and if I can do it, you can do it. It's not easy, and it's super expensive. It is, because we're doing everything organic and grass-fed and all that kind of stuff as much as we can. But he hasn't gone to the doctor in a year. since we cut out even just the sugar and the gluten, he has not been sick where we've had to go to the doctor in a year, and that's worth it. Totally worth
Exactly.
it. So.
And now,
Yeah.
knowing what you know, even if his immune system does discover something that it needs to mount an attack to, you know how to better equip him to just get through
Right.
that without antibiotics or something else to interrupt that normal system. So,
Right, exactly. So
yeah.
we're excited.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
am very excited. Thank you so much for carving out some time in your busy schedule to come on and share your story. I have no doubt that this will have a huge impact from the West Coast all the way to the Midwest and to the East Coast. So again, for all of you who are watching, please like and share our videos, and we will continue to bring individuals on like Charity to share their stories. So that's all I have. So we will see you guys next Monday. Again, every time you share, make sure you put the little ticket emoji so you increase your chances of Dr. James cooking you an awesome meal. So again, you can go back to our videos to kind of see all the details on that. So appreciate you guys getting on, and we will talk to you soon. See you, Charity.
Bye.